We all know that not everything makes a good pet, but D&D players love their pets. In fact, they love to turn pretty much anything that might be remotely cute, and a lot of ugly things too, into pets. Today's Monday Musing is brought to us by Uncia, who asked how I deal with pets and players obsessively collecting them. Well, basically, when it comes to the pet problem, if indeed it's a problem at your table, it's just sort of a fantasy trope that a lot of players really love the idea of. We've been brought up on Pokemon and other different games and TV shows and cartoons that have suggested that gathering pets is pretty much the most awesome thing. And when they see this cute something in the world that their mind's eye makes adorable and wonderful, they just can't help themselves but to want to have it for themselves. After all, it's not like they could go out and do something like that in real life. So it's kind of a fantasy that the players are trying to test out here in their game. And honestly, that means that dealing with people who like to collect pets is a dangerous slope, because we don't really want to get to a point where we are forcing people not to engage with the world in the way that excites them. Instead, we kind of want them to be excited about something that is in the world, particularly if it happens to be something as adorable as a baby Yeti. So most of the time when it comes to dealing with pets, I let them try. I try to set natural methods for them to woo over the creature, if such methods would exist. I try to get into the lore or mental headspace of the creature in question and decide whether or not it really could be domesticated even enough to be captured without just clawing and spitting and fighting constantly. Most of the time, if a creature can't be subdued in a kind fashion, you're going to find that your players are not nearly as eager to try and make it a pet. So if it's something that you want to deter for that particular creature, then simply make it not eager and willing to go, and most players are going to let that drop. It's going to be the rare enslavement player that is still finding that to be enjoyable, in my personal experience. Once I've determined whether or not it could be made into a pet in some fashion, then I just set some simple checks, let them jump through some hoops, and enjoy the fantasy of the moment. Not every creature that becomes a pet, however, can be a good pet, and my personal philosophy when it comes to pretty much any action taken in Dungeons & Dragons is that I allow my players the fantasy and the effort to attempt something, and then I lever natural consequences that come because of the choice. So if you happen to capture some kind of a creature that might be amenable for a tiny little while because of the massive amount of meat you just threw in front of it, if you stop feeding it all of that meat, it might not be quite as domesticated as players are expecting. And so you can create these natural consequences to sort of help the players ground themselves in the fiction of pet ownership, and sometimes that is going to lead people to let poor Fluffy go. However, when it comes to how I deal with the pet being there in the abstract, in the narrative, and in the story that's going forward, I don't pull punches. Area of effect attacks have a strong possibility of destroying something that's weak enough to be turned into a pet by your party members. Even powerful pets are at great risk, because the more powerful they are compared to your party, the more likely they are that they're going to be targeted. When we were running Tomb of Annihilation and our group managed to get themselves a pack dinosaur right off the bat, and then they encountered a group of sea hags, that coven of lightning-throwing witches definitely lit up that massive Stegosaurus, or Dimetrodon, I don't even remember what kind of dinosaur it was, but they lit that son of a gun up with lightning, and that was probably one of the main reasons why the group was able to escape. That said, I'm definitely not above targeting pets in order to get engagement, and it's kind of a mean but dirty hack that does work, that if you threaten the life of the pet, your players are instantly invested as they're looking to protect the little creature that they've fallen in love with. That said, I try not to throw unnecessary punches and engineer situations where the pet is in danger for no good reason at all. Some players really love the fantasy of a mythical pet, and it's important that we let them have it to some degree if that's what they're looking for out of our game. We don't want to ruin their fun just because it creates a little more bookkeeping for us. I don't mind the obsession with pets that happens at many of my tables. If anything, I think that it adds something to the game, because not only are there the elements of danger and the management of the pet, the natural consequences that you can throw out there, but it gets your players thinking as their characters if you can draw them into that pet ownership and help them to see the troubles that are being caused and also the opportunities that are there. And, every now and then just let them have a fun moment with their pet, or let their pet turn out to be in some way helpful to the situation that's at hand. Uncia, I hope that answers your question, and if any of you have any kinds of questions that you would like answered, please leave a comment down below and I'll add it to the list. Thanks so much. Happy adventuring.